All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Green White Checker TV, where we have our slightly delayed season opener here with the Area 51 Superspeedway Gen 4 series here tonight at Talladega Superspeedway. Drivers putting down their qualifying laps as we speak, as they will be running again scheduled 75 laps here tonight. And of course, as always, there is that one fast pair green white checkers in effect as well. And we've got a really good car count tonight. A few new names, new faces, some returning names, returning faces. That's always fun to see as well. So I hope you all have had a wonderful weekend. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the real race with the rain delays. I'll say it was going to be better just to delay things a little bit. So hopefully everybody's enjoying tonight. Got the race in on the NASCAR side early, so plenty of time to get everybody over here. And I say we got a new voice. So you got to hear it on Thursday night. He's back again tonight, and that is going to be Brandon Briggs, who's done some racing here, so he knows the ins and outs of the league. But Brandon, say we get to get you back behind the booth here instead of in the car. I don't know how the balance is between the two, but glad to have you. And say Gen 4 versus the trucks on Thursday. What are you looking for, you think, tonight?
Hey, thanks for having me up here. I'm excited to be up here with you, and I think the little bit difference here tonight compared to the trucks is these noses are a lot more rounded than the trucks. You can't really get up there and slam the guy in front of you. And I did a little bit of practice. I went back and watched the two Talladega races from the Gen 4 last season, and it's going to be interesting, just like I brought up in the truck race. You know, who's going to be able to get these cars on pit road and be safe. Both of those races had pit road crashes, so I'm glad I'm up here calling it instead of trying to get down to 55 miles an hour in about 3 seconds.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point that you make. Is we've definitely had some times where you feel a lot better. It's like, okay, I'm glad I'm in the booth, because yeah, these things get stressful from time to time. There's days where I definitely miss getting on track, but at the same time, with some of the chaos I've seen, yeah, it feels safer up here and being able to call the shots. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Like I said, we got a few new names, a few returning names. And then, of course, for those that are watching on YouTube, if there's anybody that you support, by all means, feel free to give them a shout out. We say we are not shying away from giving some extra attention to those drivers. So by all means, don't be shy. If you anything you want to see or hear, let us know. That's what we are here for. And yeah, I hope you guys have a lot of fun here tonight as well. Glad to have you all back here in 2025. And yeah, it's like qualifying just about completing. We'll run through that grid. And yeah, like you said, Brandon, looks like about 28 drivers here will be taking part in this one this evening. So great car count for tonight as well to start off the opener. I know we'll have one more. I'm doubting he's watching tonight because time zone wise, I think it's probably it's early in the early hours of the morning for none other than Gabe Butler. So Gabe, hope you're having a ton of fun, man. Love you and look forward to seeing you on track again here soon as well. However, let's go ahead and let's jump over to our grid because qualifying has just completed. And it is going to be Charles Johnson on the pole here tonight. Next to him is going to be Logan York, Dean Wilkinson, Jack Walls, Ray Rittenauer, our top five. Then you got Kevin Hash, Tom Dixon, Danny Rogers, Dude Conrad, Ryan Decker. I'm really happy to see Kevin Hash, Ray Rittenauer back. I say for those, it's been a couple seasons, but those two very, very quick drivers. And on this side of things, when we had some just regular like NASCAR ovals they were running there, they were really good there as well. So really excited to have them back. Then again, some of the new names though, we've got obviously Logan York. I think it's a returning name if I'm not mistaken. But then Anthony Lane, as I'm going to botch this last one for Gary. I'm not sure if it's Gary Huffines. If there's any fans of Gary, or if we get to chat with Gary, we'll get that squared away. 11th and 12th. Then they got Dale Rapp, Joshua Highbaugh. Again, new names to the league. And then, of course, Eric Laurie, Quabi Brooks, Bob Fitzgerald, Frank Ranger Jr., very familiar with them. And then a few new names there again, Robert Amaral, Mike Allen. And then we got the Groover brothers, Patrick and Seth, Nick Wing, Jason Bogart returning back again. And then Zach Perry, Jim Brooks, Jacob Lee, Bud Steele, and Brandon Briggs there, 29th. He's not in the track. He's going to be up here with me. He can't sneak away. But yeah, so that's going to be our 28 drivers here tonight. And yeah, it's going to be exciting to see what these guys have in store. Just a few more drivers left to grid. And I'll say, again, it's one of those things for me, Brandon, new names, new faces. Might take a little bit to get kind of familiar and comfortable with what everybody's got with each other. So That's just part of racing, and we'll see how everybody starts to get on with each other here.
Yeah, if you're a new name, the last thing you want to do is make a name for yourself, making a scene. So what I tell them gentlemen, just be patient, a lot of laps, learn the guys around you, learn how the league runs, and get comfortable. And then when the time is right, make your move. So you can learn a lot from the gentleman racing next to you. A lot of history here, a lot of races. I was doing a little stat check on Thursday. Mr. Jim Brooks had just cracked over 500 races. So that was pretty cool. And I know Bud Steele wasn't too far behind. So a lot of experience out there, and be patient.
Yeah, no, so that's a fun stat to check too, because yeah, we've got some guys that, like you said, that have been here from the get go. They kind of were the ones that helped found the series and the league. I'd say Charles Johnson, Bud Steele, Jim Brooks, like you mentioned, Jack Walls. I think it's the same thing. One of the founding guys. There's a lot of people that have been a big part of this one. A lot of admins that we've had help out throughout the seasons as well. And again, like last season, Gabe Butler, Kevin Freeze, they did an amazing job to. There's a lot of work but behind the scenes on kind of approving drivers, making sure everything is kind of dotted and T'd, making sure setups are right. And so yeah, so big thank you to all the admins this year, last year, that have put a lot of work into this. So yeah, definitely not easy, and without their work, these races would not get put on at all. So yeah, I'm looking forward to, like I said, we've got a few new names, a few returning names, and I'm looking forward to give a few guys, possibly if we get a chance to chat with them, a hard time. So I say it's always fun to see some of those guys back, but we're just about to get to it. They're coming out of 3 and 4 as they get through then to the tribal. Of course, as always, initial start is on the green flag, and then from there they will get things underway. Of course, we mentioned one fast repair should they need it, and they're hoping they won't need it, but sim racing, you never know what's going to come up here. All right, you can see them. They're out in the distance here waiting for that green flag to fly. And then this will kick off the season here for the Area 51 Superspeedway Gen 4 Series. Green flag's out, and we are underway here tonight at Talladega for a scheduled 75 laps.
Yeah, Gael starting off 2x2 here. It's going to be nice to see who's going to be aggressive and who's going to be patient. You know, some of these guys may have never ran these cars. A lot of great looking paint schemes out there. I was skimming through practice, like I said earlier. A lot of good looking race cars out here. Let's not tear them up too early. Let's fill out this track. But hey, we look good so far.
Yep, so far so good. And like you said, I think a lot of drivers just feeling themselves out, feeling up the drivers around them, getting comfortable. And then, yeah, saying, but you're going to have some guys that want to make moves. I already see up top there, you see the 48, Ryan Decker. He's peeking to that third lane there. I believe that maybe Danny Rogers to his outside in that XI machine, that Jeff Burton throwback. I say that's always a fun looking paint scheme. I've always enjoyed that one from the 99 car. And then, yeah, like I said, well, you know, at some point there's going to be that third lane build even more so. There's going to be some groovers in the mix there. Right now, Patrick is working with his brother a little bit further back there, but give them some time. They'll find their way up there. But like I said, right now, it looks like things pretty calm here. But you can see there, big push from the 83 Jack Walls trying to get Logan York to the point here. So Logan in that NASCAR Hall of Fame paint scheme. But right now, say you look at the inside line, though, Charles Johnson, Dean Wilkinson, very, very strong duo there on that inside line. And then just behind them, two that I do expect to see big things from if they get together at some point will be Ray Rittenauer and Kevin Hash, the 87 and the 03 cars. Those guys very, very stout at the plate racing.
Yeah, one of the most important things about plate racing is having teammates and having friends when you need them. And when you brought up earlier about going 3 wide, my measurement was always, it would always seem like it'd take about 10 to 12 laps, but once you seen the 32 and the groovers pop up there, that's when it was mindset. Okay, we're safe to get up here now. You got the right guys leading it, and that makes a big difference on, you know, who's leading that third line, and who's paying attention to the temperature gauge on top of it. You don't want to have somebody up there that isn't, you know, they got to have a good sense of surrounding, and you can trust them. So, excuse me.
No, and you're right. I say it's having somebody you can trust around. You actually got one down the apron there. I think that might be Eric Rory. Not 100% sure. Yeah, I think that's a green Yeah, so, and I talked to Eric just a teeny bit pre-race, and he had mentioned, I guess, he's had a little bit of connectivity issues where it almost seemed like it was hardware related, where if he did something with his pedals, then his car would blink a little bit. So I think he right there is just, again, some of the respect we see in this league is really hard to find. And so Eric's like, yeah, if I have any issues, I'm going to roll back, let these guys go, and just try to kind of settle in. So that's exactly what we saw from that 071 there of Eric Laurie. And I was saying they've been having some fun with paint schemes, and so Eric's running the Wandeer machine there in the 071. And so yeah, Eric's always got some fun stuff on his end as well. And then we had our first shout out there tonight, and that is for a Mr. Zach Perry, as he is in that number 76 machine, running right now in 22nd, just a couple spots up from where he started, but I think he's got his friends around him. I think working with Jacob Lee, Jason Bogart, if I'm not mistaken. I was kind of spying on some of the Discords earlier, trying to see who's where with one another. But yeah, right now just kind of cruising early on. And up top, though, you still see the 48, though, trying to stay committed to the top side, but I think you're about to see what we've been expecting for just a couple laps that we've gone green, and that's these groovers trying to find a way to get to each other to then try to jump to that third lane. So right now I see Patrick there in the 54 here, Brandon. He's got one car between himself and his brother Seth, but you know that third lane's going to happen, and actually it looks like it may be Danny Rogers peeking at it, but he's going to peek up there, but looks like Patrick's going to stay on the middle side and leave him out there.
Yeah, the Groovers had a good. Oh, we got one sideways going into one. That's the leader.
Oh no,
he's gonna
big
much
wreck.
More.
You see the 0-2 up and down. Charles upside down on his lid. This is where now he's hoping he can land on his wheels here to not have to take a tow, but unfortunately that is not going to be the case here. A bunch of cars involved. You see Charles there having to take a tow. 19 of Gary Huffines as well. You got Mike Allen there. Looks like Jim Brooks maybe okay. You see the 53, a little bit of nose damage. But yeah, unfortunately, big wreck there. Like I said, right at the front of field at that point, there's not a lot you can do. So let's go back and see how this all kicked off. We might have to rewind it a teeny bit. And actually, I think it's just like what you said, just right at the very front. It may have just been a bump gone wrong. Or actually, no, I think may have been an attempted, maybe thought they were clear, were not quite. Let's go back. We'll take another better look at it here. And yeah, from what we're looking at right there, I think we're going to see the 0-2 kind of come across the nose of the 9. I think it's one of those things where they may have been clear when they moved, and then unfortunately just not quite. Oh, I don't know. It almost looked like he got a bump from the 83. That got him unsettled, possibly. So yeah, so unfortunately, though, at that point, these guys, I mean, there's nothing they can do. They're just going to slide, and then at this point, it's just try to find a way through. And so you see the 411 gets a piece there. You see Patrick there. Yeah, you see a whole bunch of these guys catch the outside wall. And then down on the inside, that 0-2 of Logan York, he's got some pretty severe contact with the 19. The 32's got a piece as well. Can the 101, I think Joshua Highball does sneak through here as well. I'm also watching Frank Ranger Jr. there, as well as the 017, Jason Bogart. I think they peek through as well. And then we saw a little further back. Yeah, there's a little bit of contact for the 53 there. I think Jacob Lee got through there as well. So, yeah, unfortunately, early incident there. We'll jump back live here. Drivers looks like they're going to go ahead and hit pit road as we speak. And so that brings us right back into the fast repairs here now, Brandon, because now for some drivers, it's going to be a tough decision. Do you try to save that fast repair and just repair manually, or do you have to burn it now? Because, again, we're only on lap 7, so there's a long ways to go in this one. But, yeah, unfortunately, there's an early incident there, and that's, again, not much we can really say. I can't really put any blame on that one. Like I said, you're clear for a second, and then just if that inside lane gets a big surge, there's not much you can do at that point. You're committed. Or, again, I don't know if you saw something different, but it also looked like that the 0-2 may have got a little bit unsettled off that bump that we saw from the 83. Again, not intentional, but sometimes, like I said, these rounded noses.
Yeah, I think I didn't really see before. I seen where he was at, and what it kind of looked like from my eyes was that he got down into that second lane and then was maybe a little bit unsettled, and that unsettled just kicked him right to the inside. But to your question of the using your fast repair, I'm a prime example. I'll be use it now. I've came in and oh 5 minutes. There's gonna be some more cautions. You'll just repair. You get a minute or two here. Just use it now. If you lose the draft now and you go lap down, and you're playing catch up all race, and just use it now. And it's easier just to ride in it back and be safe. So I'd use it now, and let's see if we get some patience or we get some guys right back up on the wheel.
Yeah, we'll have to kind of wait and see. I'm kind of spying around to see. I see Patrick Groover. He had about a 25-second pit stop. So on my side, that's obviously a little bit of damage repairs. Car looks pretty solid on the front end of it. Waiting for the camera to kind of flip around there. You can see it looks good there on the 54. Looking a little further, looks like the 53. He's just rolled off pit road. He had about a 40-second pit stop. And the same thing, wait to see what the front end of that car. Yeah, that thing looks pretty solid as well. Ryan Decker just rolling out now as well. So I think these guys, again, the other thing you can do is you can pit and see how much damage you have and make a quick call. It's like, okay, as long as it's, in iRacing, it's called the meatball flag. If it's the required repairs, usually when you get that, you, like you said, you pretty much just got to take the damage penalty and go. But you can see right now, Danny Rogers, they're going to try to hustle out here, as well as Seth Groover. These guys look like they're lingering a little extra damage here. Logan York is just going to beat that pace car for pit road. You can see his is still fairly center punched. I think that's when you talked about probably not going to be able to hold on to the draft. And unfortunately, Charles Johnson, that car is still waiting for his toe. You just saw it get back to where it's cleared up there. So I think we're going to see him roll off. You see the 19 about to roll off as well. A few drivers topping off as well here in the one to go. But yeah, so we're going to restart this thing again. Jack Walls and Kevin Hash now going to be the front row. And just a few guys jumping around right now. But the big changes, though, are right around that top, just outside the top 5. You got Patrick Groover up 15, Mike Allen up 13 spots, Jason Bogart up 16, Zach Perry up 16. So again, those guys able to kind of get through the incident and then be able to take advantage of it through the pit stops as well.
Yeah, hey, get them where you can. If you just happen to be, a lucky recipient of a wreck, take it when you can. And I went back and double checked the with that situation with the O2. There was just a bad, not a bad bump, just a little bit of a nudge, and just unsettled the car. Hey, first race back, a lot of guys still getting used to the cars, so I don't see no harm, no foul there. Good racing, just a bad little bump, and I would like to see how those guys approach the race now. The O2 and those guys back there. Are they going to try to get back to the front, or are they going to ride for a little bit?
Yeah, no, and that's going to be a big question is, yeah, how do you approach this if you did have to use that fast repair? Like you said, we do know a couple had to. They had to not tow the pits, but they had to basically pit a lap early. We saw the smoke coming out from the engine at that point. That's that popped motor, of course. And I think that may have been, so I'm not sure if that was Dale Rapp or not in that 52, which is a really nice American Legion paint scheme on that one, I got to say. Like you had mentioned, there's some really good paint schemes on these guys. And then, yeah, Charles Johnson right now, unfortunately 2 down, but he's the only car a lapper more down, so he's got some opportunities here. But looks like we're about to get back underway here. A little kind of unsettled here up at the front row, or up at the front there. You see the 55. Yeah, everybody's really spread out here, a little thrown off on that one, but we're back to green here, and this is going to be a really good opportunity, I think, for the 80s. I'm watching the 87, the 03, and the 8. Those three very familiar with one another, so I'm going to be spying on them to see if they try to get hooked up. But I think what we saw there from Dean Wilkinson is, I think he wants to get to the back, like you mentioned, maybe playing it safe. I also think maybe trying to play help for one of his teammates potentially, so we'll keep an eye on him. But right now, it looks like we've got back underway. Jack Wall's leading the inside lane, but again, I think give it some time. We'll probably see Ray Rittenauer, Kevin Hash, and Dude Conrad. I think we'll see those three hook up together and try to make a move right now. But again, still early, so maybe some guys logging laps still too.
Yeah, shout out to Jack Walls. He's running the same paint scheme he ran on Thursday with the trucks, and we had a beautiful photo finish in the first race. I got to call over there with Boomer. It was a beautiful finish, 3 or 4 wide, and what we come to learn to find out is, yes, it's still a simulator, but everything is so realistic. Like the finish, Jack got the win because the transponders are in the rear of the truck like they are in real life. And Jack was sideways a little bit more, so his tail crossed the start-finish line first, and that's how he won the race. That's how close it was. So shout out to Jack. Glad to see him out here leading this race too. So let's see if he can do the old weekend sweep.
Yeah, so that'll always be one of those feather in your cap if you can get both of the wins in the series over the course of that weekend, like you talked about. I'm saying Page is going to be happy. Zach Perry, he's up into the top 10 now in eighth. As soon as I say that, he's jumping top. He's going to bring Jason Bogart along as well. I'll say those working together there with that 1776 Motorsports with those two. And right now you see they've jumped up as well. You see Bud Steele, he's picked up Patrick Groover here. Again, Patrick's not one to ride. Again, not 100% sure in the fuel mileage, so we'll be having to kind of learn that as we go. But yeah, again, there's certain drivers that you know they're not going to save fuel, and these are a couple of them for sure there. And Dooney mentioned, unfortunately, a couple drivers did fall off the pack on the draft there. The 19 you see here, he's unfortunately off on his own, as is the 081. But I'm actually wondering if maybe something happened, because those cars don't look in too bad of shape. So not sure there. And then, actually, I think we had an incident that did not bring out a yellow, because that 53 car is very center punched. But we stayed under green. 99 cars got some damage. I'm going to try to go back a little bit, see if I can find what may have happened here. And I think we're going to see it right here. And yeah, these guys, unfortunately, everybody stayed pointing in the right direction, so it stays green. But the 195 and the 53 by far got the worst of it. So going to have to be some decisions made here. Just stay out as long as you can, hope for a yellow, or maybe just take the hit and go ahead and get that fast pair done. I think if the 53 car for Quabi Brooks, I think he's just going to have to go ahead and get that fast pair, because that car's got no pace at all right now. Both the tires are sticking out past the fenders. That thing got a big hit. So we'll jump back up front. Unfortunately, that's kind of the issue with iRacing, is if the cars stay pointing in the right direction, iRacing sees no issue, and they keep the race under green. So I've looked at some options here, Brandon, for maybe ways of almost having like an auto steward, where I didn't say that said it's a kind of a, what do you call it, a double-edged sword, where we've even seen it in real life NASCAR lately, where people are upset if and when they throw yellows or not throw yellows at the end of the race. And so it's always a very tough balance of when to or to not throw yellow, because it opens up that controversy of favoritisms and things like that. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, there's an app out there that can auto throw yellows, but it hasn't quite configured it the way I'd like it to be. So, but it is something we're looking at in the future.
Yeah, I've been, like I brought it up on Thursday. I've been in the driver's shoes, and I've been in the viewer's shoes. As the driver, if you're leading, you love it, but the way you guys run it is good. Leave it up to iRacing. And a lot of times why it doesn't come out is for some, like you said, the cars stay straight, or we got the 54 kissing the wall over here. We done past Valentine's Day. But it's good, let iRacing, as long as cars stay straight, or if they're off the yellow, let the guys keep racing. And like the NASCAR situation today, I think it goes off the way, you grew up maybe watching the sport. I'm a fan. Like today, I wanted to see them guys race back. I am a fan of that, on the last lap. But anything besides that, just roll with it, and hopefully you're in the right spot.
Yeah, and that is one thing iRacing just has as its own just built-in rule, where if there's an incident with the white flag at that point, the race does stay green. They don't throw yellow. Unless, of course, there's... Oh, no, actually, no, I'm sorry. If it's the white flag, they don't throw yellow at all. That's just the way iRacing does it. And so there's times when actually 53 just drove through pit road, because that car's still completely destroyed. I did see him on pit road, so I'm a little confused what may have happened there as well. But either way, though, he's going to jump to the wall here.
It's going to get tight.
Yeah, I was watching Bud Steele there. Or, sorry, Charles Johnson there. Yeah, they're able to make it work. This is where... You're glad it's Talladega, not Daytona, because that would have gotten a lot more tight there. But yeah, like I said, at this point, the 53, he's got to take that fast pair. I'm not sure what may have gone wrong, unfortunately, on that one. So, but what it does do is it puts Charles Johnson, I'll get this right eventually, puts Charles Johnson back into the free position spot there, because again, him going now the second lap down for the 53, that puts Charles, the first driver, a lap or more down. So right now for Charles, same thing. If I'm in his shoes, I'm kind of just playing it cool right now. Again, you don't want a yellow as an admin, but you also want a yellow as a competitor. So, but again, still lots of time to go. Only about to come to lap 17 here, or 17 coming to 18. As again up front though, it's Bud Steele now. He's trying to challenge teammate Jack Walsh for the points. And right now they stay side by side here, coming back to start finish line.
Yeah, Charles Johnson said, I don't want no lucky dog. I want to earn it. I like him being up there by himself. Them lanes have to maybe check up a little bit. So he might get lucky, get somebody to go with him here and get his lap back the old-fashioned way and earn it. So he's risking it. He said, hey, I ain't got nothing to lose at this point. So he's going for it. I like the aggressiveness. I love three-wide super speedway racing. A lot of them drivers probably don't like it this early in the race, but I love it as a commentator.
Yeah, and actually, I mean, you make a good point there too to get it back the old-fashioned way. It could actually be even better there as well, because if he could get there, it would put him at the tail end of one lap down, and then again, if there's an incident that brings out a yellow behind him, he would actually basically net 2 laps gain because he'd already have the one, and then he'd be one down, and then he'd get right back into it. But big move there as well, jumping to the bottom there. I was watching there that 13 of Mike Allen. He was trying to make that third lane happen. But again, this might be one of those situations of a new name to the league, and like, I don't know that guy, I'm not going to do it. So unfortunately, he kind of got dropped out here, and so he's going to fall back, it looks like, to the kind of the mid-teens here. Right behind it looks like it's going to be Eric Laurie there and Seth Gruber. So not ideal, but again, still plenty of time to recover from that. And then, like you said, Charles back to the top here, but no followers yet to try to get him back up there.
Yeah, I wonder. I would like to know. Touch back on it earlier with the fuel. Talladega with the Thursday, it came in with some odd, weird. I think we had one caution at a weird time or something like that. And some guys, we were calculating our head, okay, it's 15 laps or so. And then the last guys pushed it like to 17 laps to make that crazy finish. So I wonder how many of them are in that same mode, want to be in that fuel conserve mode and see what we got. We got Bud Steele in the wall.
There's,
I seen some
something
smoke
happened
there.
to Bud there
Tell
as
if
well.
he was blown up or.
Initially, it did look like it. I'm going to go back and try to find as well what happened to Bud here, because he was up in that front section. Let me go take another look here. And so I might go back a little too far, but you can already see there's been a bit of a stack up. And yeah, so let me rewind it a little bit here and see. Oh, and actually, I think you're going to see it right here. It looks like with Bud here and the 48. Oh, big hit there. Yeah, so again, trying to work with each other and just weren't quite lined up, and that's where things got a little bit unsettled there. And you see right behind him there as well, the Nick Wing got a little piece of it too. So that really spread the field out here a little bit with everybody trying to react and get set back up here. So we'll jump back live once more. You see actually Bud Steele, he's hopped in on the pit road. He's taken his faster pair, so he's going to roll back out now. And so, yeah, so this field is really starting to kind of get strung out a little bit. Right now you've got the top 11 all back together. Mike Allen's leading the second pack, and he's easily going to bring these guys back in, which is going to bring them all the way from now to the top 18 back together. But unfortunately, one driver that really caught the bad end of that one is Frank Ranger Jr. You see him off on his own. But also got to give him a little bit of love as well in that 17 with Ranger Creative Concept. Last season, didn't even advertise it, but offered up a couple trophies for our champions, and he's going to be doing the same again this season as well. So big thank you to Frank for doing that as well. We're going to get some logos for him as well up on the broadcast here shortly. Just got to get him a little cleaner. But yeah, Frank's got some really cool stuff. So yeah, if you're ever interested in anything along those lines, check out Ranger Creative Concepts, as you see on the side and hood of that car. But yeah, right now though, Brandon, looks like we'll get again pretty much that top 18 all back together here in just a moment. And you see them coming around Bud Steele. So this is going to change the Lucky Dog situation now, because I believe now Bud's going to just be one lap down, which will then of course put him in that Lucky Dog position as we run. Whereas again, and then actually also Danny Rogers is still one down, but that car's already lost the draft, so he's not too far from about a half a lap already down for that second lap as well. So right now, Bud Steele in the catbird seat. But again, though, I mean, this field is so spread out. We just talked about the 17 of Frank Ranger Jr., but then we got to go a little further back to these two, Dean Wilkinson and Dale Rapp. They're working together to try to just minimize time loss. Go again a little further back here. We've got that 19 and the 081 that we just talked about a little bit earlier there as well. And then we talked about Bud Steele already as well, and then Logan York, he had to hop onto pit road. I think same thing, fast repair for him in the O2. So yeah, this field's very, very spread out with a handful of guys here, but we'll jump back up front as it still continues to be Jack Walls leading the way. You see him again just blow by the 53. I guess at this point, I mean, he's gone this far, he might as well just keep limping along, but that's one of those situations where as soon as you know you have that kind of damage, that's where you just take the fast repair and get back out there. But unfortunately, just didn't work out in that way for Quabi there. But yeah, so right now here again, Brandon, we're on lap 24 coming to 25. They pitted around lap 7, so and here you go. Say you got the first one, Charles Johnson. He's on pit road, but unfortunately, no friends.
Yeah, he's coming back down too. I was actually going to make a comment, to those guys that's been into some incidents. Stay out. Battle through this, because coming to pit road in these things is not easy. So, hope. You don't want to hope. For anybody else to wreck, but you need to caution bad. So, and that's a position where it could come. So, don't just hang on. Keep battling, and then to see Charles come back down. That was maybe he didn't take fuel or anything. Maybe he just took the fast repair when he got towed. So. Don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see. I mean, so really one of the first I expect to see hit pit road would be the 83 of Jack Wells, because he's been leading this pack for this pretty much just the majority of this time and continues though to stay out. So right now we're approaching that lap 20 mark or so from when they pitted under yellow. Again, that was at lap 7. So realistically, we could say like lap 8, lap 9 is when they really got rolling again under green. As you saw right there, and that's one of the things that I always talk about, Brandon, is when you're that car that's going to make that lane change from top to bottom, I was always one of those ones where it's like, yeah, just move over kind of calmly, gently, not to kind of freak anybody out. But then come to realize that actually moving gently like that is just a recipe for disaster. You actually really want to make that quick lane change, because of the fact that otherwise that car behind you is going to kind of get lulled into following your draft. So I think that's what we saw there. But you see, I think the two teammates getting locked on together there, the 48 and the 83. But then, I think these three drivers up top working together, if I'm not mistaken. Jacob Lee, Zach Perry, Jason Bogart running that top lane together. So I saw another chat there on YouTube rooting on Zach Perry and Jason Bogart. Right now, those three running 1, 2, 3 on that top side. And we can get a good view here from the roof of Jason Bogart, watching his teammates here working together.
Yeah, that it looks really bad on TV, but if you're clear, like you said, you got to make that move quick. You got to get down and hope and pray you cleared enough room. I was always like you, I was the nervous one. I tried to make sure I passed like midway down the backstretch and had hopefully a car linked, or we got some guys coming to pit road right now.
Yep, looks like Robert Amaral, too hot on entry. He's going to get an unsafe entry there. He's slid through, but it looks like Joshua Highball and Eric Laurie, they're going to get in clean. And so what you'll see there is basically, obviously there's two ways of penalties, is speeding on entry, but then also unsafe pit entry. And so unfortunately for that 13 car, he's going to have that unsafe entry. For the 77 car, he's going to get that unsafe entry. And I believe that may be a 40-second hold, but you can see already though that the 13 here, he's already rolling. He's able to get the 101 right together with him. Eric Laurie, unfortunately, longer pit stop here, maybe different strategies there on tires, fuel only. And so these two are going to get hooked on together. But based on that, I'm going to say we should expect to see some more drivers come in. And as I say that, here we go. Oh, big hit there on the inside there. I think that was, we got more trouble on the pit entry there. I think that may have been Bob Fitzgerald, one of those. It was Bob involved as well. Let me go back. We'll watch this pit entry, because that was definitely a tough one there for some of these guys. So we'll back it down here and we'll get a better look at the pit entry. So I know I have here's a good pit entry angle. And so you'll see you got Jacob Lee nice and easy, nothing around him. And then right here you can see big slide there by Seth Groover. Then you see Bob Fitzgerald, he gets into the 76. And then you got Nick Wing in the 17 there as well, right together. So again, unfortunately, going to likely be some unsafe entries there. We'll jump back live because we got a few more pit stops underway. Dean Wilkinson just hopped in and is rolling on out. And we'll go through kind of the pit stop times, because there are a number of penalties from those. Jack Walls, Ryan Decker, and Jim Brooks, they've just hit their pit stalls. So it's all unfolding here, and actually it looks like, yeah, okay, so I was looking at the timing scoring, is a little bit off. Yeah, Ryan's on now. And so that's going to leave these three, Raymond Rittenauer, Kevin Hash, Dude Conrad there, Tom Dixon as well. They did not pit yet. So again, they were saving fuel this run. And so they're going to hop in this time around. So again, looking at the fuel number, to me, it looks like maybe about 20-ish, maybe a little bit more than that, depending on what you can save. And here comes these three heading in to make their stop. And this one looks a lot nicely organized with the four of them. Yeah, that's a great entry for those four.
Yeah, I like their plan there. Like we brought up the pit road is the hardest thing to do in super speedway racing. At least it was for me. You're trying to make sure you don't run anybody else over. You got to make sure you're looking down, that you got to 55. There's so many things, and especially in these cars, I've figured out that if you push the brakes too hard, it locks up immediately. It's not like in the trucks or the Xfinity where you can really get on the brakes and it stays straight. This locks up and it wants to just wrap right around. So it's really, really hard to get woed up. And if you come in like that big pack of that group, one little kick sideways, and when you got a group of 10, it doesn't take long to start tearing race cars up.
Yeah, you see these guys all coming out pretty well together as well here. So what's going to happen is we're actually going to get a first time look out the back of one of these cars. So we're looking out the back of our race leader, Raymond Rittenauer, and you can see out his back window. There's not a lot back there, and that's exactly what you want to see. We'll jump to the last car in the group, Tom Dixon, and you can see them coming, but it's going to still be a little while till they get there. So great pit stop by these four. Again, they went the furthest, and they had the best entry and exit together. Jack Walls will get there, and actually Jack's by far had the best pit stop of these other guys as well, because you got to go another 2.5 seconds to Brian Decker and the Groover brothers. So yeah, this is really kind of just really jumble this field apart here. But then we go back to what I was talking about, Brandon, on the pit penalties. Jacob Lee, he had a 48-second pit stop there, likely a too fast on entry with that 40-second hold. Robert Amaral in the 77 car, 48 seconds. Zach Perry, 48 seconds. Seth Groover, 48 seconds. So all of those are pretty much telltale signs of that 40-second stop and hold on top of that 8 or so second pit stop. So yeah, so unfortunately a number of guys got caught out on that one. But right now, if this thing stays green, as it's looking, like I said, Jack is trying to get there. I'm not going to I can't guarantee that he will get there now at this point, because those top four have really hooked up nicely. And like I said, Tom Dixon has put himself in a really, really good spot with these three up in front of him. And I think right now I'm watching the intervals from Jack Walls to Tom Dixon, and it's starting to stretch just a little bit the other way. It's 1.8485 seconds going the wrong way for him. So, however, look behind him. Here comes a big head of steam here. Seth Groover there, Ryan Decker. Seth actually just ran the fastest lap of the race, a 46.71, which was about a second and a half quicker than Raymond Rittenauer with a 48.10.
Yeah, the Groovers gotten themselves in the same situation Thursday, and the trucks just had some bad luck, wrong place, wrong time, and the other Groover dropped back to help his brother get him back up front, and they did the same thing throughout the beginning of the race, about the same spot we're in now. Over 2 or 3 pit stops, they were down, I think it was 13 seconds at one point, and they stayed nose to tail, and they chopped it all the way down, and they were there at the finish. So Ryan Decker with the Cincy sponsor there on the side of it, hey, he's in a good spot. He's got 2 good guys behind him, and they got no problem getting nose to tail and pushing really good.
And they're there. I mean, it took about a lap or so, and again, I looked at the lap time that last time by 46.62 for Patrick Groover, now a new fastest lap of the race. Raymond Rittenauer was a 47.93, so I mean, it was again over a second quicker. So yeah, so they did a really good job picking up the draft, using that momentum to get back up there. So yeah, so we're now going to have looks like about a 7-car draft here, as it will be Jack Walls. I think he'll be able to kind of use those guys as a ladder to pull himself back up there as well. And then this next group has actually gotten themselves pretty well organized as well. Here you got Nick Wing there, Joshua Highbaugh's, the 3rd car in line there, and then in between them is Danny Rogers. But they're close. They're about 1.5 seconds off of this pack up in front, so there's still a good chance there. But now we're getting into that lucky dog battle. And there's a lot of cars here that are being fighting for that first spot, one down. So right now at the moment, I believe it's actually going to be Seth Groover in the 32. But you see right there, Bob Fitzgerald on the inside here, that everybody's going to try to stagger themselves. Oh, he got the 32 just getting hooked into the wall. Can't get off yet. There he goes. And that's the other thing to mention, Brandon. These cars are not symmetrical. That right rear sticks out. And so unfortunately, when you catch that wall, it pulls you into it. And so for Seth there, he had to try to find a way to get that car unstuck. And it's not easy to do at times. So unfortunately, he had that come up to him. However, right now, still holding as the first car, one down. But 77 car right there, Zach Perry right there. These are the guys vying for that Lucky Dog spot as we speak. So really, all three of them right together.
Yeah, this is what really makes these cars, you know, especially in their time, which was so fun to watch them at these tracks. Is everything about these cars are different. The right rear sticks out, you know, it angles off. The noses are real curved. If you get up to push somebody, if you drove an Xfinity car or truck on here, they're more square. You can really, you know, give a good bumper. Even in the next gen, you can really run up and just really boom somebody. But in these, if you bump too hard, you will literally lift the rear end, just like that right there was that
right
little push.
there, yeah.
You just lifted them up, and you move that quick. So there's a technique to this, and it can get out of hand and get out of control really quickly.
I almost wonder if that's a little bit of strategy too, where it's Patrick saying, "Hey Seth, let's get you to be the one in front because right now you're the one a lap down, so we want to keep you the furthest forward of the two of us." But you're right, though. I mean, it did look like that bump just shoved him right up top there. But you also see Charles Johnson. He's right back in the mix. And same thing for Charles. He's going to want to do the same thing, get himself back to the tail end of one down. As you see, actually, they're going to jump top here. But I think that's just to kind of spread themselves out. That was interesting there. I really expect them to just kind of hold the middle there, but they kind of drifted up a bunch. It doesn't look like it hurt anything. Actually, I think, if anything, Seth is clear. But right now, I think opting to stay with his brother for the moment. So right now, this actually puts Seth tail end of the lead lap, which will then bump up the 77 of Robert Amaral to the first car, one down. So it'd be, again, a really good fight between he and Zach Perry as things run. But again, though, as we've seen, you never know how these things are going to unfold right now. So at the moment, Ray Rittenauer, that inside car, he's still leading. Kevin Hash behind Tim Duke Conrad. Those are the top three. With Patrick Gruber in the 54 as well, vying for that top 5 position, and then right now the last car in that top 5, Tom Dixon, and then it's a bit of a cluster for driver's lead lap, one down. So it's all shaking up here, Brendan.
Here comes that 51, though. Here comes that 51. I seen that Area 51 green white checkered car coming. Hey, that thing is humming on that high side. Oh,
contact.
Oh man, that's twice I've said something. It's happened right after that, so I might have to lay off of that. But that 51, it was humming on that second lane. I like seeing Jim up there, and I with the Groovers and Johnson. I like them being up there. Get in front. You guys are a lap down, but not only that, but then you can really control the race. And being a lap down, and if you can slow the pace maybe down a little bit, get everybody calmed down, you can get a couple laps back.
I don't think the Groovers know how to slow down a pace. They know one pace, and that's fast. But you were going to mention about Jim, though. I was looking at the same thing. Look at the nose of that car, though. It's a little center punch. So we saw him leading that second lane, and then the 101 getting into the back of him a little bit. I think that maybe because of that nose damage, that car, it can hold the draft fine, but I don't think it's going to be a good leading car. So that's something that he's going to have to be aware of, and I'm sure once he hits a pit stop, he'll see that optional repairs probably pop up in his screen. So one of those things that these drivers will have to be aware of, where it's like, oh, okay, I've got damage. Whether or not you remember from where the incident came from, that was like, okay, it's probably nose damage or not. And actually, as I say that, some new features that iRacing has brought out recently in the last couple of builds, Brandon, as well, is there's actually, you can set up a button on your wheel or anywhere on your keyboard to set up where your spotter will tell you what your damage is and where the damage is at. So you can push that button and the spotter will say, hey, you've got some damage on the front end. And you're like, oh, okay, so I know that's where I've got something at still. So then you know, all right, my nose is a little hurt. I may not be able to suck up in the draft as well, things of that nature. So again, really cool features that iRacing's been bringing out. It's been a lot of fun, and again, they ever try to continually evolve the stuff in the sim. So really a lot of fun to see. But right now, the top 5, they've checked out a little bit here, Brandon.
Yeah, they definitely checked out. I wonder if that's gonna hurt his temperature any, as it goes on with that nose beat. Ooh, locked
Let's
him up there coming
deal.
in,
Oh,
but ooh,
that's gonna be
oh,
too hot of an entry. There's no
yeah,
way.
I think the wheels cross that yellow line. That's what iRacing goes off of. But I wonder if that's going to cause any temperature issues to that car. And as you can see, I don't want to say it's Jim, but with that damage now that you brought it up, I think he's causing that backpack there maybe to lose a little bit. Ryan Decker going to keep pushing him hard, but I think any longer they're going to maybe lose the draft here.
Yeah, and I think that's what Ryan is trying to do. Is I say these are these guys that are working in Roswell together. What they do have going for them though is ahead of them. These guys have really started to jump lanes a bunch and start moving around. So that's going to help that second lane to catch back up. And I already see Jim starting to close slowly but surely. But yeah, so that brings back in that tough decision here, Brennan, for Jim is, do you do the fast repair this time or not? Again, we're over halfway to go, already down to 33 to go. Also got to start thinking about pit stops here in probably about the next next 5 or so laps. A lot of these guys pit around 28 to 30 was the range. So based on that, we kind of saw about that 20ish lap window. So to me, again, that means probably about lap 48 to 50. So yeah, so we'll have to see who can do what on the fuel mileage. And based on that, I do not believe anybody can make it from here to the end on pit road. And I can confirm Bud Steele did have a pit road speeding penalty. He sat in pit road for about 55 seconds, rolling out now. But yeah, right now up front, though, still is Kevin Hash on the outside lane. He's picked up Dude Conrad. They're going to take the point. Again, some of the guys that I haven't seen in a while love to see Kevin Hash back out there. Dude Conrad, we've always talked about when he's in these races, he's always one to be reckoned with. Just unfortunately, his schedule doesn't allow him to race every week. And then again, looking back at this Lucky Dog battle still a little bit. Right now, it's actually Jacob Lee who's in that top spot again. And it's bouncing between he and Seth Groover because at some points when Kevin Hash is in lead, that puts Seth first car one down. Right now, tailing the lead lap just by about a nose. So right now, Jacob Lee is the biggest Seth Groover fan, wants him to stay ahead of Kevin Hash on that outside line.
Yeah, speaking of Dude Conrad, going back to my notes, watching a previous race here in these Gen 4 cars coming through the tri-oval, he made a beautiful move, went to the right, Bud went to go block, and he hurried up and moved it right to the bottom and ended up passing Bud to win the race. It was a beautiful move, so Dude definitely knows what to do in these cars at this track, so him up front is no surprise. And I got a question for you now. If you're Jim and you know all these guys got to come to pit road, do you come with the first guys, or do you wait to see maybe, hey, if they make a mistake and you have a caution here, I can get this stay in pit road longer if need be and get these repairs done without having to use the fast repair?
That's a great question. Actually, you just saw right there Charles Johnson. He's hopping in again. He's on his own here because he was off sequence that last time as well, so he's going to jump in early. It looked like a nice clean entry there. And that's actually a really good question. I think, in my mind, you stick with what your team is going to do. The less cars I feel like you have pitting together, the better. But there's that magic number of cars that to come in with. When you come in with like 10 plus cars, it just becomes such a traffic jam. It usually never ends well. But if you can get about 5 or 6 guys maybe at most on a team, to me that's about the perfect number, because usually you might lose one guy either from a pit penalty or just some little mistake. And again, you need to have at least 3, in my mind, 3 to 4 cars is I think the minimum you need to be able to run those fast laps on pit exit. So for me, if you're Jim, if you're working with the Roswell guys, and I'm looking at the lineup right now in the timing and scoring, you've got Jim right there, you've got Ryan Decker. You see, I think they're trying to get Bud Steele lined up here on the inside as well. I think Ryan's being kind of playing full teammate here. Yeah, there he goes. Jack Walls is right there. Nick Wing's not too far back. So they looked pretty lined up right now to kind of come in all together here. And also got to give Ryan a little bit of love there with the Sensi on the side. I saw Caitlin peek in. Caitlin, hope you are doing well. Dixon and the family. Definitely always been thinking of you all. Love to see Ryan on track, and yeah, glad to see you peeking in here on chat as well. So, so that's a tough one for me, Brandon, to make a decision on. But the fact that he can hold the draft makes me think you save that fast repair. You know you have a little bit of a deficit, but I think you hang on to it just in case, because I mean, at that point, then you lose that one get out of jail free card you have.
Right, right. Okay, okay. Yeah, it's always nice to hear different strategies. I was always. I guess it was a little different. I didn't have as many teammates. You know, it's a little harder that way. So I was always follow the groovers because I know like, hey, they're gonna be aggressive. If I lose the draft, they're gonna push me good, and I can follow them. We'll get back up there. So I guess it's a little, different having some teammates. So some good knowledge to know if I hop back in here.
No, and yeah, definitely the more friends you can have in this, the better. That's made this racing also a little bit difficult. And there's been times where there's definitely been some contentions where you might have a team that has a bunch of drivers, and you feel like you're kind of, like I said, either rolling solo or maybe have like 2 or 3 guys. But yeah, you need to have. You pretty much, I think, are guaranteed to need to have somebody, especially on the pit strategy thing, unless you find a way to like tag on to the back of somebody. The thing is, a lot of these guys, they're usually pretty open to kind of bringing on new blood. It's like, hey, if you even just you reach out like, hey, looking to drive with somebody, would it be okay if I hang out with you guys? Again, that's for me especially. Like, I'm not one to reach out to try to like get a teammate or things like that. I've never been very good at that. As the Groovers here, they're going to jump in. Looks like I think I saw Frank Ranger sneaking in the background there as well. And so, yep, there he comes, and it looks like pretty good. You can see, again, a little spread out there. Eric Laurie popped in there as well. So now it's just they got to have a quick entry and basically, yeah, minimize their time in this pit stall. That's going to be job number one for these guys. We saw last time Eric lost them just a little bit. So hopefully this time it'll be a little bit quicker for them. And it looks like you see how none of those cars, well, actually, I'd say that looks like Eric Laurie's taking rights. And that makes me worry again because the right side tires, that's going to take a little longer. Actually, it looked like a car came up, but again, there's the difference, though. Those guys are already gone while Eric Laurie was still sitting on pit road. Dean Wilkinson, you see here, he's in with Jason Bogart as well as Dale Rapp. And Robert Amaral also on pit road. So it looks like windows just about to open here. And again, last pitted around lap number 30 for these guys. We're at lap 50 here, coming to 51 to go, so 25 to go as we speak. I wonder here if these guys can drop anchor, maybe they can pull it off where they don't have to pit again. It'd be tight, but do want to mention though, here come the other drivers there, the Roswell guys we talked about: Ryan Decker, Jack Walls, Nick Wing, Jim Brooks, and yeah, you can see on the nose of that the 51 car. That nose of the 51 car looks like it got worse to me here.
Yeah, he may be doing a little bit more pushing. Jim said, "I got to get to the front, buddy. I got to go." He's using every part of that Ford.
We're gonna go back here. We're gonna try to take another look here at the 51. Let me back it up a teeny bit here, because I'm wondering, was there any? Oh yeah. Oh no. Jacob Lee came in as well, and I think Jim just got in way too hot here. And you're going to see, unfortunately, Jacob Lee, nothing he can do here. You see right there. Oh, my goodness. Huge hit for Jacob Lee. Nothing he did wrong there. Just Jim getting too hot. And that's where the extra nose damage was. And unfortunately, Jacob taking the brunt for it. However, we're going to jump back onto pit road because here come those four that came in a little earlier. And, oh, no, Raymond Rittenauer still sitting on pit road. That's going to be, I'm assuming, a speeding on entry for Ray. And unfortunately, that we talk about having as many numbers as you can have, and that's unfortunately going to catch Ray out. So we'll jump back one more time here. Watch Ray on the it's entering his pits. We want to see entering pit road. Here we go. So we'll watch Ray on entry, and yeah, when they lock up that far past the cone, that's usually a little too hot. So unfortunately, it's a speeding on exit for Ray, but what a pit stop. Tom Dixon now, he takes the point here over Kevin Hash, trying to still catch up. Here come the Groovers working together. Again, right now, Patrick in the 54 is the leading car. Seth is the tail end of the lead lap, well, becoming tail end lead lap right there. As now, oh no, Tom Dixon, he's coming back to pit road. Maybe too good of a pit stop. Maybe speeding on entry. Look at him lock it down, trying to get everything back. Looks like a safe entry there. So I'm wondering for Tom Dixon, that may have been something he did on pit exit, maybe drifting up too soon potentially here, Brandon.
Yeah, when the lobby opens up, it gives everybody about 30 minutes, to get used to the car, the track, iRacing updates so often, lets you get used to the new model for the car, and almost for about 15 minutes, this is all I would work on constantly is, coming down pit road, taking off, coming, because as we spoke about earlier, it is so crucial. You can win or lose the race on pit road, especially if it stays green. So, nailing your pit stop is one of the most crucial things, and luckily for the 411, it looks like he's going to have a little bit of help coming out of pit road here, so not too bad of a break if we get a
Oh, right
caution here.
there. Yep. And I
Yeah,
think you saw right there, say we were looking back at it there. And so it looked like, yeah, I think he may have it was either maybe a speeding on exit or him just drifting out that teeny bit. I'm not sure which it officially was. But that's a heartbreaker. I said Tom has put himself in such a good spot there. And again, just a small mistake. So again, as you see, the groovers pushing each other so hard there, they actually accidentally kind of wound up going down to the apron there. So right now, we've got 5 cars in the mix at the moment here for this race here. Again, they all still need to make one more pit stop, and so we'll wait till we get a little closer here, Brent. I'm going to quiz you on one more thing. So right now, though, our top 5 is saying we'll do here is actually we got a good little run through. Is we're going to run through the fields here. If I can get my overlays to work correctly here. There we go. We're going to kick it off with our leader there, Patrick Groover. Again, the second car in line in that Monster 54. That is our leader. He's up 20 positions. Then we'll jump over to Kevin Hash there behind him in that 03 machine. So he's got to get some sponsorship on that one. And right now, getting a top 2 finish at the moment would be a good way to do so. Duke Conrad behind him in that Yorkville Chevy. Ryan Decker in his Sensi Chevrolet there sitting in 4th. And then again, Nick Wing right now, the last car in this main pack in that number 28 Helveland car is there. 18 spots gained for him. Then we got to jump almost over 4 seconds back, to Jack Walls. This is 6th place position car there. You can see, again, the way this field's all really broken up. He's the only car in this pack here on that lead lap. So then you got to go 10 seconds back to Eric Laurie. Unfortunately, he is off on his own right now, and he is just crossing start-finish line as the leaders are coming out of turn 2 for reference. Then in 8th is Joshua Highbaugh. You see right behind him Mike Allen. Those two are in 8th and 9th together. Jim Brooks rounds out the top 10 with his damaged nose there on the 51. Very damaged nose now after that contact with Jacob Lee, as right now he sits in 10th. Dean Wilkinson working with Jason Bogart. They are 11th and 12th still on that lead lap. Tom Dixon there in 13th, still in lead lap as well after his mistake there on pits, but again, also on the lead lap. Those are our lead lap cars. And then, actually, I'm sorry, Raymond Rittenauer, I believe, is the last car, technically last car on the lead lap in the 14th spot. And then Seth Groover right now is still last car lead lap as he is just on the tail end in front of his brother in 15th. And then for the Lucky Log battle, Zach Perry in the 76 is in 12th. Sorry, in 16th, first car one down. And so, yeah, so right now those are the drivers here that are on the lead lap or in that Lucky Dog position as we run.
Yeah, the Groovers are in the same spot from Thursday. It's we're looking as a replay if it was Thursday all over again. The Groovers were out front and from what he said, lost the race trying to help his brother get a lap back. So it would be interesting to see if he just says, "Hey, you're gonna go a lap down this race," or if how it goes here. So whole lot of racing left. We got 18 to go, so anything can still happen. Guys all over the place, but the race is not over.
Yeah, and so I believe, again, based on the pit stops we saw and when they pitted the previous time, I do not think anybody can make it from here to the end. I can tell you, Jim Brooks, he just went ahead and hit pit road, I'm sure, to take that fast pair in the 51 machine. And I think it looks like the 53 went ahead and hit pit road as well, since he's had a really tough night. So I think that's just to drop back to do some drafting help to kind of minimize some extra time loss. So yeah, but as I say that though, here come the Groovers. They're going to pick up the draft of Raymond Rittenauer there, the 19, the 77, and the 52 car, but they're going to swing right on by all of them. So now that Lucky Dog battle is going to continue, because it's going to be Raymond Rittenauer right here, right to his outside. Zach Perry's going to try to follow along suit. That's going to, at the moment, put Zach in that Lucky Dog spot. So Raymond's going to have to start getting aggressive to get himself back up there. and see how it shakes out. But right now, though, again, it looks like these three now add Danny Rogers to this top three because they're not going to get away, but they've kind of run away a little bit here. They've got some gap. And so this is where I was going to put you in the spot here, Brandon. So we're 17 to go. We know at this point that they're in the fuel window to make it to the end. Of course, then you got to throw in the potentials for green-white checkers. But there's the train of thought here between short pitting and basically once you're in your window, or do you run this thing as long as you can and then just take the bare minimum you need to get to that end, plus minus maybe the green-white checkers. I mean, where do you stand on that in a race like here in Daytona where you can pit and not lose a lap? Do you like to wait as long as you can, or do you try to short pit knowing that after you pit, if there's a yellow, you would cycle back towards the front? Because there's always two trains of thought on this one.
I think a lot just depends where you're at on the track. If I'm the groovers, they're up front. I come immediately. I make the shortest pit stop I can. So what that's going to equal out to is because everybody's spread out. So you already got a buffer gap. So if you come in a little high, or you make a little bit mistake and you have a bad entry, we're not where it costs you a penalty, but just where you slow down, you got that little bit of buffer room. And not only that, you're going to pit with somebody that you can trust and you push good together. So I try to shorten the pit stop as quickly as I can, get in, get out, and get right back to drafting. As you've seen, they pulled away when they want to. So, but everybody else, I'm playing follow the leader, and just come in when I know I'm gonna have somebody to draft with, because the last thing you want on the last pit stop is to be by yourself.
Yeah, I'm trying to see kind of as well. We always talk about having teammates and working with people. And as I say that, I see Duke Conrad, I see Kevin Hash up top together. Ray Rittenauer. I'm sure Kevin Hash is going to try to join that party here in a second. So for those guys, they would have three drivers that they could work together with in that situation, to have three come in at the same time. And actually, as I say that, you see right there, Ryan Decker, he slots in right in front of the 03. And then same thing on the Roswell side of things. I see the 48 we just mentioned. The 28 still there. You see the 52, actually. I think he's just jumping out of the way here, going to let these guys race it and then try to get himself slotted back in line. Or, again, maybe for Dale, maybe I think these guys may be guys he's racing with, or teammates, I should say, that he's working with. So, may have rolled out too much, so hopefully he doesn't lose the draft there on that. But yeah, so I mean, right now, though, again, pending anything happening, we only have 5 cars in this lead pack, so having the numbers in and out of pit road is going to be crucial to this. So even if you don't have a teammate officially in this pack, if you can find somebody to work with, like you'd mentioned as well, where you've kind of had to roll solo on your strategies, try to find a friend there. Like you see Ray Rittenauer there, he rolled out there to be able to let Dude Conrad slot in there. And so again, that's going to give these three now, they're in a really good spot here. The 8, oh, we got one down. I think that was Patrick.
The 54.
Oh, yeah.
Big inside contact.
Or did he blow his motor pushing, or is that from the contact? Let's go back and look.
He definitely got a nudge, so it could have. I didn't see any smoke. I just seen a hard left.
Let's go back and we'll take a look here. I think that car blew up. We'll hop on board because I didn't see anything obvious. We'll try to listen in here.
Yep, I seen the white smoke come up from. I think you're right. I think he did blow up. Yeah.
Yeah, and I had to focus on the wrong car by accident there. Apologies.
Yeah, I did see a little bit of white smoke there.
So he's gonna make it to pit road. Oh, but that's a heartbreaker there because he was in such a good spot as well. So that's really shaking things up again. And so now Ryan Decker's taking over now, trying to lead this race here. He's got Duke Conrad behind him. And then on the inside, again, this race is so mixed up right now with everything. Again, there's about 10 cars in this pack. 4 of them are lead lap cars. You got the 48 there, Ryan Decker. You got Dude Conrad right behind him. Kevin Hash in the 03 on the bottom lane, as well as Nick Wing there on the inside. Everybody else there, though, these are all drivers that are either one down, tail end of the lead lap. Again, there's a lot to be fighting for these guys in these positions, and they're about to catch some more traffic up in front. So, yeah, there's still a lot that's going to be happening here. We're coming around next time by is going to be 10 to go in this one. You see right in front of them, you got Charles Johnson, Bud Steele there, as well as the 02. I say again, I'm still learning a few names and faces. That's Logan York there right in front of them as well. So they're going to start to pick up their draft. They'll get a really quick lap here from this draft. And again, though, we still haven't seen that final pit stop from a lot of drivers yet. I believe the ones we have seen, I think Frank Ranger Jr., he's made his final stop, but I'm looking at the timing scoring of last pit stops, and I think Jack Walls may have, I think Jack's made his final stop, but again, at that point when he pitted, he was not in this main pack, so again, we're still waiting for, basically for these four guys to see who's going to blink first, but you see Ryan Decker here, he's kind of just, I think he's kind of dropping anchor right now. He's like, you know what, I'm just going to save a little extra fuel like you said too, Brennan. Save as much fuel as you can now. Take the shortest pit stop you can. And as I say that, I lie, and he jumps up top here to pick up Seth. So, yeah, now we just wait to see who's going to be the first to jump out and jump into pit road. I'm surprised nobody's done an early pit stop, though.
Yeah, if you're the 32 now, you lost your teammate. So how now, and you know you got a guy right around you that needs that same spot you have. And as you know, you come down to the final laps, pushes are going to start to get harder. Guys are going to start making, more moves. So if you're the 32, how aggressive are you? You got to keep that guy behind you no matter what. That's you got to be the lucky dog, because it's probably going to be maybe your last chance if a caution does come out. So are you more defensive here? You throwing some blocks maybe?
That's a good question. I'd say, me personally, I've never been good at being the aggressive driver, so probably not throwing blocks, but I think, yeah, you do want to try to stay. You see right there, actually, speaking of the aggressive, Seth tried to make sure he kind of went for a gap that may or may not have quite fit the way he was hoping to, but he made himself in there. Do need to mention that you see these three, Joshua Highball, Eric Laurie, Mike Allen, they're all on pit road. They're rolling out together. But yeah, so the thing for me for Seth is he's still in a really good spot just because of the fact that, again, the guys behind him, he knows they still have to pit, and then for the lucky dog battle, I'm looking to see where is Seth on track. The next person he has for competition is Zach Perry, who's about 5 cars behind him, and then Ray Rittenauer as well, who's another car or so back. So what I am noticing, though, right now, as well as this pace has dropped a fair bit. We're down into the mid 47s, whereas earlier these guys we'd definitely been running into the 46s for some of the faster laps. I'm curious. I don't think anybody can make it. The two that I'd be watching the closest would be Dude Conrad, Kevin Hash. But right now, I do wonder. It does seem like everybody's just waiting as long as they possibly can to make that final pit stop. Again, I think these guys are full fuel save, because every little bit you can take out will be faster, of course, in the pits. And again, if you pit late too, if the yellow doesn't come out, maybe you gamble. You say, I'm just going to take the smallest amount iRacing's going to let me take, not even worry about extra green, white, checkered fuel, just to try to kind of jump ahead of everybody else.
Yeah, especially if you're a new guy. You made it this far, you kept your race car clean, and especially if you got a fast repair in your back pocket, go for it. We got some guys that normally race that aren't here tonight. This is your chance. Maybe get out there, get ahead in the points. We had 28 cars. That's a lot of points. Come that 6th, 7th race. If you finish top 5 or bottom 5, that can change your whole season. So if you're there at the end, go for it. That's what risk it. There's nothing much to lose at this point.
Yeah, no, like I said, yeah, this race has definitely been one of those kind of full moon type races, it feels like. So I think you're right. I think this is definitely one that you can try to gamble on. And I'm watching. Big trouble again. We'll wait and see. Right now, everybody's staying pointed forward. I think we're gonna stay green. We'll see. I see Bud Steele. He's still stuck up against the wall. Now he's able to pull it off. But again, we saw a similar incident there earlier with the 53 and a couple others that as well did not bring out the yellow. So Bud's going to try to limp this thing back. We'll see if he's just going to maybe pull left and retire or not, because I don't know if that car's got an engine left or not. And it looks like that's exactly what he's going to do. But what I did see, though, was a quick reaction here from Ryan Decker. He decided, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and jump on the pit road with that big stack up, and he's going to get rolling now. But the concern is he needs to find some friends to be able to draft with on exit here. Right now he's kind of solo. He has a chance that he could pick up Jacob Lee here, and that could help him out here. But this could change things. And actually, as I said, here come these other drivers here. You got Dude Conrad getting the Ray Rittenauer getting the back of Nick Wing. I think Nick's able to react to it. So we got the top 3 in pit road together here. And this race has just been a little bit of everything. We're 5 to go this time by. When they cross the line, we'll be at 4 to go. So it's all to play for here. Like I said, now it's just going to depend on how quick these guys get in and out of pit road. I can tell you Ryan Decker was on pit road for about 6.4 seconds. 5.5 for Nick Wing, 5.7 Kevin Hash. Ooh, 9.6 for Dude Conrad. That to me looks like tires probably went on that car. So he's going to lose those top couple cars here. But look how spread out they are, Brennan. So we got to watch Ryan Decker and see how he can catch or not. This is just, again, nothing's gone to plan for any of these drivers in this last stop here.
Yeah, we've seen right there that a hard push will lift it right up. And hey, kudos to Nick Wing, because when these cars, when you get in the back of them, it sounds weird, but the tires automatically want to just, turn to the right and want to spin out. So him getting into the back of him that hard and Nick being able to keep it straight, that was definitely the good hands of the race. You can see that back in. He definitely got into him pretty strong. It's all junked up back there. But good recovery by him, staying in this and still in that pack. So see how it goes out.
Right now, we're coming to 3 to go here. You can see Nick Wing. He's got a big head of steam. Does he take it? Nope. He's going to give a big shot to Kevin Hash, because what Nick Wing is looking at in his mirror is he sees 1.4 seconds to Ryan Decker and then another second back to Duke Conrad, who's working with Ray Rittenauer. So if he can, again, we got to stay green for 2 more laps, of course, as well. But if Nick Wing can break this draft from these other drivers here, this could give an opportunity for him to try to settle it amongst just the 2 of them, the 28 and the 03. And then you're kind of, if you're Zach Perry, you're in a kind of a non-ideal spot where you don't want to play a role in this race, but right now, kind of whoever you push could be the winner of this one. So that's going to be a tough decision for Zach to make as well, where it's like, well, hey, do I know one of these guys? Maybe do I try to help even if they're not an official teammate? There's possibly some politicking going on that one, but we're 2 to go. So again, they just got to get to that white, like we talked about iRacing. Once you get to that white flag, at that point, it's just who gets the line first. I can tell you, Ryan Decker, he's not been able to close any ground on them, but you see Ray Rittenauer, Dude Conrad, they're going to jump to his outside here, try to grab that final podium spot. So they're going to have that race kind of within a race here. And then you got to go all 30 seconds back now to get to the 5th car here. And I mean, it's a fight for the top 5. You got Joshua Highball, you got Eric Laurie, Patrick Groover, Mike Allen, all right together. But we're going to jump back up front here for that final lap. Potentially, Brandon, they got to get through this trial first, and then from there, we'll see who can make the move at the end. So it is going to be white flag here. Nick Wing versus Kevin Hash at the moment. We'll see what decisions are made here and where do you make your move.
Yeah, if I'm Nick, hey, I'm staying on him. I'm staying a little bit close. I think they got enough distance where the guys behind him aren't going to be a problem. So if him, I'm pushing him all the way down here. Let's keep it running. And then as it comes to the trial, that's where I make my move. Maybe lay back a little bit and see if I can pull out and get a good run. And like you said, the 76 is going to play a big part in this race.
And I'm watching that timing and scoring. Dude Conrad with Ray Rittenauer. They are charging. They're already gained over almost a second. There you go, though. Nick Wing, he's going to jump top here. And like you said, he's going to pick up the help from that 76 car. And I don't think there's going to be anything Kevin Hash can do, and he won't. It's going to be Nick Wing getting the win here tonight. Ray Rittenauer is going to get a little love to his buddy Kevin Hash there. But it will be Nick Wing getting the win over Kevin Hash. Dude Conrad bringing it home in 3rd for that final podium spot. And just for a speed reference here for you, Brandon, that last lap, Nick Wing was a 47.93. Save more contact there behind these guys just having some fun now. But Dude Conrad 46.87. They were over a second a lap there quicker. But again, just too far to get there at the end. But it's going to be this guy here. And saying to me, the save of the race for us as well. Nick Wing hanging onto that car with that contact on pit entry. Kept it straight, kept it within the speed limits, and was able to stay focused and make the move to win this race.
Yeah, definitely the move to save the race, because that could have got ugly quick, and we've seen how many times it did happen. Coming into pit road and getting somebody getting in the back of somebody and basically ending the race. So great job by Nick Wing. He had to have them 4D racewear gloves on to make a save like that. So kudos to him and congratulations kicking off the season on a high note.
Yeah, I know it's a really great way for him to start too. And say we were actually just chatting where I reached out and was like, "Hey, you still going to run this season or not?" It's like, I got to see. I'm not sure if I'll be able to make all the races or not. And so this will probably make it a little bit easier for him to maybe pull some strings. Like, yeah, I might need to make some more of these races as he celebrates here on that front stretch. But say we'll see if he does a little bit more, because if he does, nope, he's going to do a quick little burnout and then jump. But what we'll do is before we get to those interviews here, Brandon, we'll pull up our final results of the race. If the results will show up for me. Still waiting for that to go. There we are. It will be Nick Wing getting the win tonight over Kevin Hash and Dude Conrad there. And Miss Mama Groover, I'm glad to have you over here. Sorry it didn't turn out as well as we were hoping for your boys. But they definitely gave it one hell of a shot tonight. But yeah, so Nick Wing over Kevin Hash, Dude Conrad, our top three. Ryan Decker there again, just didn't have the help. I loved the call there to hit pit road early when that contact all happened. Just unfortunately did not get the help he needed there to be able to try to get up there. And then that dash for the top five position, for top five, it is going to go to Eric Laurie there in the 071, able to hold off Joshua Highbaugh, Mike Allen, Patrick Groover there. Then a little further back, Dean Wilkinson, Jason Bogart, they stuck with it as well as Tom Dixon there, staying on the lead lap there again. Just attrition and just mistakes, I think, was the name of the game tonight. But all those guys stay on that lead lap there. Zach Perry, first car, one down in 12th. Then Ray Rittenauer, Jim Brooks, Jack Walls, and Logan York all also just one down. And then Charles Johnson, unfortunately, went that two down early, just never had the chance to recover from it. And then as well, you see Gary Huffines there in the 19, 2 laps down. We'll continue down the order there. You got Robert Amaral, 2 down. Dale Rapp, Jacob Lee. Again, we saw his contact on the pit entry. Again, nothing he could do. Unfortunately, winds up 2 down. Bob Fitzgerald there. And then a lot of these guys from here, just even more of a difficult race there. Anthony Lane, Frank Ranger Jr., Seth Groover, Danny Rogers, Bud Steele, and then Quabi Brooks there in the 28th position. So, yeah, definitely a wild one tonight here, Brandon. But we're going to try to hunt some drivers down now. And so we're going to start with a certain Dude Conrad. So let's go back because we got to take a look at that lovely paint scheme as well as we get a chance to chat with you, dude. We talk about you aren't always able to make all these races, but the ones you're in, we always have to keep an eye out on you. But you had some new friends tonight, dude. I'd say you had Hash back, you had Ray back. Obviously, Eric, even though he's kind of rebranded himself as Juan. But right. you had some new friends tonight, man. How was it getting some of those guys back on track with you?
It was awesome. You say new friends. They some of the oldest friends I got on iRacing. Learned a lot from them. Ray right now is one of the best out there. You was talking about my paint job. How about my new right side tires? Y'all didn't see them? It was nice.
I was worried about you on those right side tires. I don't know if he's going to hang on to that draft there.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. I got a new button box and just forgot to take them off. No excuse.
Hey, dude, Brandon up here in the booth. Hey, I had a question tonight. I'm always just thinking, what the driver's going through. How was the temperatures tonight? Seen a lot of close, good pushing, and then of course, there at the end with you guys charging late. How were the temperatures tonight in there? Was it something you guys were really nervous about as we've been in the past, or how was that?
It was. You had to deal with it, but I was welded to raise bumper there the last 3 or 4 laps, and it never got in the red. It's a lot more fun when you ain't got to worry about it. But I mean, you have to deal with it, like I said. But it's not near as bad. It cools pretty quick.
10-4. That's always got to be a pleasure.
And we're getting a good look at the back of your car right now, dude, and it's so much fun to. I always enjoy seeing the paint schemes and the fun you guys kind of have with them, and yeah. So, but man, I think the other question for me tonight is I think what caught Brandon and I for a loop was we had a couple of what could have been incidents, or yellows, I should say, but the car stayed pointing in the right direction, so iRacing kept it caution free there. But it was that one that was right around you guys. And we saw Ryan Decker. He hopped in immediately when that happened. You and Dude and Kevin, or sorry, you and Kevin and company, you guys stayed out that extra lap. Was that like, okay, there's no way that's gonna be stay green and throw yellow? Or what did you see from your point of view on that one?
I believe somebody blew up. I seen smoke and a lot of cars checked up. And not that I didn't think a caution was going to come out. I just knew we was already slow. And then wasting another lap out there, getting up to speed would have been suicide. So we just went ahead and pitted.
And then on side note of that one, there was no way that any of you could, because I think you guys were the ones that went the furthest on fuel. The previous stop, there was no saving to make it to the end, right?
No, sir, I wasn't. Hash may have, but I tried, but no, I was way short.
Well, we'll quiz Matt after we get finished up with you. But, sir, it's always a pleasure to have you up here, be able to interview with you, and always a pleasure to have you obviously on track as well. I know you got some awesome sponsors and friends and everybody. So, as always, definitely want to give you the floor for any thanks and shouts for that podium here tonight.
Just how about Eric get fishing top 5? Just really blessed, man. Love this league to death. Didn't have Gabe here tonight and Kevin. That kind of sucked, but other than that, we had a blast tonight, guys. Nice race with Ray and slow Kevin.
That's true. Yeah, I forgot about the Kevin comparisons and fights. So that'll be fun to tease them. Hopefully over the course of the season as well. But dude, great job tonight, man. Always a pleasure to have you up here with us, and looking forward to seeing you again the rest of the way, man.
Hell yeah! Thank you, guys.
Good job, buddy.
All right, so we're gonna jump back. We got to pick up the next car, and that is gonna be this 03. And I'm going to give him a hard time because I'm used to him sponsoring some cars that would always win in the Oval Series that we used to put on over here at Area 51, and that's Kevin Hash. And so I guess the first question is there still a performance shop for you, Kevin, and your brother?
Yes, yeah, it still is. We just haven't been doing a whole lot recently. Just had my first child back up last year, so we kind of been a little bit of hiatus from it, but looking at doing a lot more here in the future.
Well, first off, congratulations. That's super exciting. And also not nearly as exciting as having a kid, but having you back on track. As I saw the name, I was like, hey, I know that name. So I'm really glad to have you back, man. So I don't know if you've been racing elsewhere and kind of just sneaking your way back over here, but if not, looks like you hadn't missed a step, because I don't think you put a foot wrong tonight.
Yeah, we both me and Rittenauer, teammate, I gotta give him a shout out as well. We've been kind of focusing more on oval stuff, trying to get a little bit better over there in a couple other leagues that we've been in. But yeah, for the most part, it was good to come out and actually have some speed to begin with. And it seems like these cars aren't as crazy as like the next gen or the trucks for myself. So I'm pretty excited to get back in something that feels more like the old school iRacing super speedway stuff used to be. So definitely fun. Come back out and do that. There was a lot of near misses that I remember quite well of avoiding. It didn't seem like I've avoided very many in the last few years, but yeah, I'm glad to finally survive to the finish of one of these things and be toward the front.
Yeah. Hey, you got a pretty good clean race car, so glad to hear that you're back racing here, and heading into next week into iRacing Super Speedway with these cars. Is there anything, you finished up front, and like I said, it sounds like you ran pretty good here before, to these new guys that this is their first time running? Is you got any tips or pointers heading into next week? We know that's probably one of the toughest tracks to not only drive, but then you add these cars into it, it makes it pretty tough for us. So you got any tips for those guys?
Not really. I don't think I've ever won an iRacing Super Speedway. I've had that's probably my worst luck. I either wreck myself or get caught up in other messes. So most of the time, usually trying to enter pit road because I'm pretty bad there at that. Not gonna lie. Ray Rittenauer, my teammate, can vouch for that. But really, with these cars, I don't know. It seemed like it kind of mattered with tire wear for the first time that I've seen in a long time. So definitely going to be curious there. I'm wondering if maybe 4 tires may be a play. I wouldn't think so under green, but I think if you get a caution, somebody that takes 4 is definitely going to have a upper leg over everyone going toward the finish.
Yeah. Not to mention that is definitely one of the hardest pit roads to enter. As we've seen, pit roads can be a mess. And I just want to tell you, man, thanks for being back, and congratulations on the second place finish.
Thank you. It was great to be back. Great to see some familiar names and be around. Kind of feels like a little bit old school. Gives me some 2020 and 21 vibes when I was over here running full time. So yeah, definitely looking forward to it and can't wait for the rest of the season.
Yeah, looking forward to have you the rest of the way, Kevin. But before we let you go, always got to let you give a moment of thanks and shout outs for friends, family, sponsors. I say I want to see some logos on that car next week. But yeah, floor is yours, sir.
Yeah, we'll definitely try to get some logos on there. But yeah, just gotta give a huge shout out to Ray. Teammate worked with me pretty much the whole night. Huge shout out to Dude Conrad. Always worked together great. Got to congratulate Nick on the win. I knew coming toward the end, I was pretty much outgunned. I tried every trick I could think of without, ruining either one of our races. So it's definitely fun. We'll see if we can get one position better next week.
Yeah, so I think, like I said, it's one of those ones you got to have your friends, and unfortunately, you're a little outgunned there. Dude and Ray were hauling. They just needed maybe another half lap, and they would have been there. But like I said, I won't be surprised to see you guys up in those top three in future races, man. So go enjoy this one, go enjoy the family, and look forward to seeing you again soon, sir.
Thank you, sir, and thank you guys for the broadcast.
All right, Brennan, that leaves us one last fella to chat with, and that is going to be the number 28 of Nick Wing. Nick, we chatted like literally maybe an hour or so before the race. Like, hey, you running this season? And it's like, well, I may not be able to make them all. And as they, so maybe indecision and procrastination is the way to go for all the kids listening out there. Joking aside, but Brett and I were talking. I mean, the move of the race in my mind is just you hanging onto that car. I mean, we saw a couple instances, unfortunately, of drivers having different pit entries and just maybe mistakes getting on the brakes too late. You got lifted up a little bit, but able to hang on to it, keep the car pointed straight, still to get it down to pit road speed, and that allowed you to be able to stay in position to have a chance to win this race. I mean, behind the wheel of that, I mean, how white knuckling are you on that, and just is it just reaction, just kind of subconsciously? I mean, what are you feeling behind the wheel when you feel those rear tires get lifted up like that?
Wish for luck and hopefully I don't hit the inside wall. And all I was doing was watching my rearview mirror and watching people die. Then I seen a car come up right behind me, and I was like, "Yep, this might be the end of me."
Yeah, that was definitely. I see. We seen it all race. Guys coming in definitely hot. We know how tough pit road is, and then you had these cars in it. Um, when you was right there, did you and the 76 have any communication, or was that just you guys ran together before in the league, and he just worked with you, or were you just lucky that he went with you?
That's my new Sunday group I'm racing with, and I communicated him. I told him let's take so and so field, and he said really, and I said yep. And then when Decker and them we came out, and I said, well, I hope that Decker doesn't catch us with the other couple guys. And I told Zach on the last lap, 3 and 4, I'm going to jump out. And then once I seen him coming down the backstretch, getting a little time, I said, well, I'm going to wait a little bit.
Yeah. We was that was something we were talking about as we was coming to the finish. Who's the 76? The 76 was definitely gonna make the difference in the finish of that race. And now that you got one under your belt, how do you approach the rest of the season? Are we aggressive, or we trying to get our teammates one? What do we do going from here?
Probably the same stuff I always do: feel and run long.
That's definitely a good strategy there.
That is, yeah, that is a Nick Wing specialty. So actually, Nick, I'll say I was talking to Dude. I meant to ask Kevin. I blanked on it, but we saw a few guys able to go like that one lap further on fuel on that second to last stop. Were there any thoughts? Like, do you think there was any feasible way of trying to fuel save to make it without a stop there to the end, or were you pretty much there was no way other than like really having to drop anchor there at the end?
Well, I could have ran a lot longer on each of the stints, but I just was worried about losing the pack with all the cars we had, and I didn't want to lose the pack because that was way too much momentum to lose in the cars.
Yeah, no, and that's exactly. I think that also is what maybe bit Ryan a little bit, was coming in on his own, didn't have the cars like you're saying to work with there in the pit stop. But yeah, I mean, obviously the setup worked out tonight with what you say your strategy. Like I said, you nailed everything to perfection to kind of hang on to the car when things didn't go too well. Obviously, there's a couple close calls that you had to avoid as well that maybe it looked like they were going to bring out yellows and the car stayed pointing the right direction. So iRacing kind of kept it under green. So yeah, there was a lot going on tonight. And let's say you were able to kind of sneak your way through, gaining 22 spots from your starting position to the win. By far the highest climber as well. So congrats on that. I think it's just kind of bragging rights at that point. But yeah, hell of a job though tonight, Nick. Always happy to see you get a win over here. And yeah, got to give you the floor here. Any thanks and shout outs for that win this evening?
I'd like to thank my teammates at Jacob Lee Racing, and I'd like to thank Zach, and of course you guys doing the broadcast.
I will go enjoy this one, Nick. As they well deserved as always. And yeah, I say definitely hope to see you on track the rest of the way and go vie for that championship. Not that we're thinking about that after race 1, but yeah, go enjoy this one, man.
Yeah.
All right, Brandon, that is our race winner. And yeah, so I mean, again, just there was a lot tonight. Obviously, like we talked about, some new names, new faces, some returning names and faces, and I think just again, maybe I wouldn't say pre-race jitters or first race jitters per se, but did seem like there was some, like I said, just a few maybe mistakes that we won't see as frequently. I think going forward, I said I'm sure a few drivers, like I said, we saw unfortunately some mistakes on pit entry, just drivers getting in a little bit too hot. And I think that'll be something that they adjust. Like, okay, I need to make a few more pit stop practices because these cars maybe brake differently than the trucks that they did on Thursday, or maybe even the Xfinity cars that we ran last season. So I think this will be one of those big learning curves, learning situations. Like, okay, wasn't quite as copy as pace as I maybe expected it to be.
Yeah, and it doesn't get any easier. Next week we head to iRacing Superspeedway, which, like we talked about with Wing, that it's so tough. The banking and the slope and getting down, and the entrance there is so narrow. So, if you had trouble today, I would suggest putting in some work and getting some practice, because it's not going to get any easier, and the talent doesn't get any easier that you go against. And while we're here, I want to give a shout out to Jason Bogart in his 017. He started 24th, finished 10th. Mike Allen started 20th, finished 7th. So them guys right there, they finished it out and came out with a good position and kept battling. So shout out to those guys. And it may not seem like a lot, and you don't want to run those laps where you're by yourself and you're just back there turning laps, but them points are going to add up the longer we go in the season, and to finish out and get good finishes like that, like plus 14, that's a good way to start the season.
Yeah, no, exactly right. Yeah, it's always good to get jumped up there. And like you mentioned, yeah, I mean, Mike Allen, like you said, his first race over here, Joshua Highbaugh, those guys 6th and 7th, really good results for them to kick it off. And then on the other side of it too, it's unfortunate. We saw some guys that definitely should have had better results than they wound up with, just either mistakes out of their control or things like kind of the motors that we saw have some issues tonight as well. So there's gonna be some guys that are definitely going to look at next week for a rebound, and that's what's nice about racing too, is it's like, all right, every week's like you can kind of do that reset button and get right back after it. So that's what's fun about it. So you get and then also of course a lot of these guys, like I said, they've been together. Like I mean, dude mentioned like he's been running with Ray and Kevin and all those guys for years, and so it's kind of like it's just like basically a way to hang out and have some fun, but then still be able to do something that you enjoy. So yeah, it's stuff like that I really enjoy with doing these. And same thing on the broadcast side, doing this with you and with Boomer and then with Matt last season. It's kind of like a hang and getting to watch racing and talk about it. So it's a lot of fun. But Brandon, I'm really, really grateful to have you up here with me, as well as with Boomer over on the Thursday nights. I'm really excited to kind of get you more comfortable with it. I said you've been awesome from the get-go, so big thank you as well for you to kind of take this on. I feel bad stealing it from the driver's seat, but selfishly glad to have you up here with me.
No, I'm excited, and I enjoy being up here. It's a good time. It's nice to get it from the other perspective of getting to watch how these guys make these moves and watch how some of the guys that's been doing this for so long make it look easy. And I'm sitting here trying to figure out how to do this while I'm in the car. So it's definitely a lot funner being up here. And I don't know about you, but on Tuesday we Green White Checker TV's got a good race coming up. The IndyCar series is at Chicagoland. I've been excited to watch that one. I've been with not racing as much, so I don't practice as much, so I get to watch a little bit more broadcasting. So that's been an interesting, fun season over there to watch. So I'm ready for that and watch those guys broadcast, do a little bit of pointers and tips from them, and I'm excited for the season.
I appreciate it, man. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Yeah, like you said, we're back again on Tuesday night on the Indy side of things for the Indy Oval Series, and then I say we're back full speed here, so we'll be back again after that on Thursday night for the trucks, and back here in 1 week's time as well for Gen 4s another time. So again, everybody that watches, supports us here, everybody else chatting on YouTube, thank you all so much for being a part of it. Like I said, love to hear from you. Feel free to chime in, root on your drivers. Like I said, we can easily get them some extra airtime. We have no shame over here. So, but yeah, for everybody watching, thank you so much for supporting us and watching. We'll be back on Tuesday night. And of course, as always, until next time, take care, stay safe, have a good night.